So today's Wisdom Wednesday, I want to talk about realizations. This has been a very interesting week, and we're approaching a full moon, and that really changes a lot of how our bodies adjust to things, but it also is kind of a bellwether for the changes and the transformations that we're going to make in our spiritual life. And so something interesting happened the other day, and it's interesting because I've had this shadow of a decision that I was thinking about making, but something happened yesterday that really prompted me into action. And this is why I want to talk about realizations, because sometimes we see them as these bad experiences or these weird things that happen to us. And yes, we can choose to see them as these horrible things. In my life, I've always looked at what is the light showing me through this experience? What can I learn from it? And so one of the things that, some of you who have been with me for a long time, that I do my best to have balance. And so I'm very active Monday through Friday, but on the weekends I pull back and I do my best to stay off of social media. Most of the time it's completely, unless there's like a sale or something going on. And I also stay off of email, and I put my work aside with POBA so that I could really balance and hear my own thoughts, be creative, and figure out, my mind is always going with creative thoughts. So I do my best to do that. But in the back of my mind, there were some social medias that I didn't listen to my feeling vision, and I was on these social medias that just were going to require extra, and in the back of my mind, I wanted to kind of get rid of them. And then what happened the other day with WhatsApp was somebody who was in that very small group of students got through saying that they were a Udemy student, and I'm easily found through my email. People can get this information and just sign up. And they ended up posting porn on the actual page. It was disgusting. And meanwhile, I've had other issues with the WhatsApp because of, constantly being sent Bitcoin stuff and all this other stuff. But the point is that inside I already was thinking that I wanted to get rid of this. Not just because of what the app was doing, but because it felt overexposed. It felt like there was too much. And there's another one, even on TikTok, my daughter wanted me to start that. And so I went on, but I found that I wasn't resonating with that. And I needed to realize and listen to my own, body magic and wisdom that these things were not for me. And here comes this experience of, what happened on WhatsApp that made me just realize, like, I'm very available in these other means that are very common. I don't need to have this extra thing. And so just because you can do something does not mean you should do something. This is me shitting on myself, right? Looking at choices that we can make and making the choices to be more peaceful. Just like I made the choices to have balance and how I was going to run my business, I could also downsize to allow myself more time to breathe, and then also more focused time on just the things that are really important. And that is what comes with some of these weird experiences that we have, is that we can pull back and look at the bigger picture, and we can condense where we're effective versus just spreading ourselves out into every which way. And so while I didn't enjoy that my students had to see this filthy picture, and I didn't enjoy the frustration of being invaded, my private, beautiful space that I create for my students, having that be invaded. I did see that as a bellwether for change of something that was already within me, that I was already thinking about, right? And so sometimes that's why these things happen. So what I would say to you is, listen to your comfort zone. Listen to your body wisdom, and listen to your feelings and how you're feeling about a certain situation, and pay attention to that. And when something happens, look at what the universe is teaching you from that experience and see if there was already an inkling within you that you resonated with before that experience even happened, and this was just the confirmation. A lot of times you're getting confirmations, and I don't mean that someone's out there trying to give you these horrible situations, because I don't believe in that. I think it's a crazy world and bad things just happen. But I do think that how you interpret them at the end of the day is up to you, and what you learn from it is up to you. And from me living my whole lifetime like this, you can see how I've translated this into an academy to teach other people how to do this. So it's worked for me to do it this way. The other thing is, don't try and be everything to everybody. By putting yourself out there and being everywhere, right? Because that was the choice I was faced with. How about just be there for yourself? How about be everything to yourself? Everyone has a job to do, and that job is to be 100% responsible for themselves. But a lot of people will try and make you 50% responsible, right? So a lot of times people say, oh, we came together and we were one. Well, 50% and 50% coming together makes one whole mess, right? So I always say, no, each person is responsible for 100% of themselves and their responses, their reactions to life. How they move through life is 100% up to them, no matter what their background or upbringing. At a certain point, you got to throw all that in the trash and just say 100% of this life is up to me. And you make choices for you, so you can stop trying to be everything to everybody and be everywhere and do everything, where you can just start focusing on the quality of your own life and being 100% there for yourself, 100% responsible for the life that you're going to live, and not worry about being saturated everywhere, but really start focusing on the quality. And so, in my 50 plus years of being on this planet, I've learned that it's most peaceful to step away from taking responsibility for what everyone else is doing and trying to shape everyone else. Meanwhile, just, shape yourself, take responsibility for you. And then whatever you learn, put out there, like free love, and whoever steps up to the plate to receive it is in the right heart space to receive it. They want it. And therefore, there's no convincing, there's no selling. It's literally just you making something available from yourself, and people step up to the plate to receive it. And that can only mean that they're ready to receive it. And this has worked and been very successful for me in my practice. And so, just specifically talking about, cleansing out your life, cleansing out all the excess, cleansing out all the noise, and just be available to hear your own self. And it sounds like it should be easy, but it's not, because we're so inundated with noise 24/7. The brain has become this Times Square through social media where it never sleeps. This is why people have trouble sleeping too. But you have the power to hit that off button by setting some rules and guidelines for yourself. And so I've learned for me that balance comes through setting up some of these guidelines for myself and being 100% responsible for me and the choices I make to make sure that I'm living a good quality life and being healthy. And whatever that means to me individually, and not worrying about the way everyone else is doing things, but just doing what's right for me. So these have been my realizations through the week, going through a lot of stuff, feeling some anxieties, feeling some accomplishments, feeling some annoyances, and just understanding that this is all part of, everyday life, living as a spiritual being, and you get to choose how you're going to move through that life. So I just want to say, you got this. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Also, you can go to my Patreon page, Patreon/Place of Bliss Academy. Link is below. Like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys back here next Wednesday. Bye.